So with Captain America Brave New World releasing, it's time to rank all 4 Captain America movies from the worst to the best. And coming in at number 4, unfortunately, is Captain America Brave New World. And just because this movie is at the bottom of my Captain America ranking does not mean that I think it's a bad movie. I actually gave this movie a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd, which on my scale is still a positive rating. I think one of my biggest positives I took away from the movie is Anthony Mackie's performance as Captain America. Also, his chemistry with the returning Falcon and Winter Soldier characters like the new Falcon and Isaiah Bradley was really fun to watch at times. And something that I'm kind of in the middle on is the action in the movie, because there's about half of the scenes that I really like, and there's some scenes that are just not that great. But I think this film suffers from an underutilized villain that we had to wait 17 years for a payoff for, and it just wasn't that satisfying. Some clunky action like I was mentioning earlier, especially with the fight choreography, and some very obvious reshoots. I do really hope this film is profitable though, so that Sam Wilson can get another Captain America movie with a completely different creative team. But coming in at number 3, we got Captain America: The First Avenger. And this movie was my introduction to Steve Rogers' Captain America as a character. And I just always remember the first half of the movie being the strongest part in my opinion, with learning who Steve Rogers is as a person and just how good of a man he is. Then you start getting into the Red Skull stuff and it just starts to fall off from there, and then the movie circles back around to being great again at the very end of the movie. And while this isn't like top 10 MCU for me, this is a movie that I throw on a lot from the MCU as kind of like a feel-good movie, so I feel like that does have to count for something. But coming in at number 2, I got Captain America: Civil War. And I know a lot of people would have this as their number 1 Captain America movie, but trust me, this is not a big gap between my 1 and 2. They pretty much flip-flop every other week. But Captain America: Civil War is just one of those movies that just continues to just be in discussion throughout the entire course of the MCU since it's come out. You still have people debating to this day on which side was right. Let me know if you're Team Cap or Team Iron Man in the comments. This film introduced Spidey into the MCU and Black Panther, and on top of introducing those two characters, it's their best outings as those characters. One of the things that this movie does do so well is keeping the story mostly about Captain America, even though this is basically Avengers 2.5. I still think Civil War has the most interesting conflict in an MCU movie. But coming in at number 1, I got Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and I think this is one of my most rewatched MCU movies, and it's definitely one of my favorite tones in the entire MCU. And I do think that Brave New World replicated this tone pretty well, but they just didn't get the story down. But getting to some of the reasons I love this movie, I just think this is a perfectly paced film. Once this film gets going, it just does not stop. It has so many memorable fight scenes and action set pieces. I feel like an underrated part of this movie is definitely Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, because I think this is my favorite performance that he's had as the character. Scarlett Johansson looks so good as Black Widow in this movie. Also, the final scenes in the movie that we get between Bucky and Steve just make me tear up every single time. Like, specifically when Steve says that I'm with you to the end of the line, like, just every time. But y'all let me know y'all's ranking of the Captain America movies in the comments, and make sure to follow for more movie content.